Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Greatest Attorney. That was almost like an actual video intro, even though this is a stream. Also, let me lower the music. It's probably really loud. I turned it up so you could hear it. You know how it is. Now you should be able to hear me, though. Everything's turned down to normal levels. This should be a fun episode today, because I took a week off between the last episode and this, so I'm going to have to relearn all my voices again. Oh well. This song, by the way, is the Cypher Peon battle from Pokemon Colosseum. Great song. Great game? I would say pretty good game. It's got some pretty wacky levels, just in the late game, but you know, kind of a Pokemon staple at the time. There he is! Yeah, it's me. Alright. Cypher Peon music gone. I'm also going to get rid of that tab because I don't need that anymore either. And then I will start the game. Let's see. I need to go to Switch. Where is it? There it is. And there we go. Okay, why can't I hear it again? Is there just no audio? Oh no. Wait, why is there 3 video capture devices now? That's a little spooky. I'm going to assume it's fine. Oh no, it's probably just very quiet. That's what happened last time, actually. So I'll just turn it up, because I turned it down because the music was loud. We'll see if I can vaguely hear it. Dramatic. Okay, I can. I can just barely hear it. Yeah, you're here on time. Alright. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Hey, that's great. That's perfect, actually. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Great, it's Waluigi and Wario. And Detective Gregson. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination. Yeah, we basically just convinced the jury last time that maybe they shouldn't just condemn this person because they're a pickpocket. Anyway, so this is Wario, despite being the one that looks more like Waluigi because he's wearing the purple. So that one's Waluigi. Yeah, Governor.
I did, Gov, I did.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. This is weird to see Mr. twice.
God blimey.
This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windy Banks.
Well, it was Bedlam soon as, weren't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out, me looky-lookets.
Right, yeah. However, that was a lie. You, brothers.
Core blimey.
On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
We ain't never done nothing of the sort.
How'd you figure that out?
What?
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth.
Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again.
Yeah.
A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov, we hear yet.
We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll beach.
Witness testimony. Here we go. Illegal entry. The whole truth.
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshots, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying.
Lummy, it didn't have to give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out the door and get us next.
We stuck everything back where we found it in Scarpet, straight into him in the block.
Okay.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We didn't even have a chance, did we?
So you admit to that Francis' accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess.
The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windybank's that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. And also Gregson's here.
Yup.
Well, here we go.
Alright, we knocked a few things over.
Press. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place?
Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we?
We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good.
Which are we was. Well said, Ringo, me old China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble.
And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble.
That's rotten luck.
Says the rotten apple eater. What? Okay.
Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing.
Right, Nash, right. More like we tidied up the place.
Clearly doesn't like that.
Sorry.
Was when we heard the gunshot, okay? Press. So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter.
Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was loud, all right. Blimey, my dead granny would have woken up with that bang.
Big brother here screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter.
He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot.
That got tangled in some marionette, what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales onto the floor.
You've really mastered working quietly, then.
What a racket! Me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that.
So in short, Lucy Reed subscribed again. Crazy. The gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam!
Well, wait.
And the scene, right? I hear the shot, the next thing you know, there's a skull rolling across the floor.
That is pretty funny.
Excuse me.
What? Gregson. Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it if only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. And the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're all saying now.
Yeah.
You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now that you mention it.
Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas?
If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy.
We'll get it right this time.
That's it, yup. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Right you are, Gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
Plot twist, Greg's is the killer. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. In this kind of a game, you know?
So, in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did it, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yelling all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun! Bam!
That's reenactment, fellas.
Kind of thing. A career in acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank.
On me granny's life, of course it was.
On his granny's knife, of course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice. So that would mean what?
What, Nash, what? Any ideas?
Yes, counsel, indeed it would.
Nah. We didn't know the old geezer.
How am I supposed to deny it when the bloke in the fancy club was giving us the evil eye?
If you value your lives, you will ensure that your testimony is accurate and true.
On me granny's life it is.
On his granny's life, must be. Isn't your granny dead? Weren't you saying that? It's a good job his granny's dead then. To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys. Anyway, way I see it. The bloke went out in the place was holding a gun, so he should have fired it instead of yelling at the girl.
Huh? The bloke was holding the gun. I'm sure this is it. I'm just gonna do it. No? Okay. I will press again.
You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hands. Oh yeah, bet it was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot."
It didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say.
Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times.
People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course.
Good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided.
Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only, the person who was gonna shoot him beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper.
Bet he wished he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun."
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot. It was more or less the same time, Gov. Give me that gun! Bam!
Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed. Do the whole thing.
Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet.
After that, we done a slapdash job tidying up the place.
Okay. I was thinking that shooter'd come out of the door and get us next. What's the last one? I thought that was it. Oh, yeah, okay. It's gotta be this, because it's the new thing that we added through looking at the testimony, right? Whoops. Doesn't that contradict the amount of guns we have at the scene? I don't know. Oh, it's the one where she's holding the gun. Yeah, okay. That's what I want, probably. Okay. Same idea, just wrong piece of evidence.
You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun, is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Yours it, Nash, yours. No question.
And yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection!
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more?
Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel.
Yeah, that's right.
Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl, eh?
Hardly likely.
No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence.
Ugh.
Continue with the cross-examination, counsel, and heed my earlier warning, witnesses.
Okay.
A skoking's never skoking.
Alright, well, I'll continue to press then.
Hold it!
So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Not on your life!
It went deathly quiet after that, it did. Put the wind right up in me. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov, it was, from the inside.
Right, and we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom? Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps. Don't ring no bells.
No light, no lights.
We had to cut and run.
We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that.
Saw his mouth moving.
We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we're gonna be great criminals. We'll really cut the mustard. Please, cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. Gina was there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom?
That's right, Gov. That's right.
Good enough, even if we wanted to.
We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered.
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Yeah, well, we was a bit hasty there.
We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Good advice, miss, good advice.
Truth be told, me mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss,
After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or something, so they clapped the derbies on us like winking.
Oh my goodness.
And after you had been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct?
Well, yeah.
But listen, that proves it, doesn't it, eh?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that? What? Well,
'Cause it's true,
innit?
the place was totally empty when we went in.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who held the gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank. Correct?
You got it, mister.
Down to a T. So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank? Is that really true? I wonder.
Okay, so it's about them knowing what he sounds like.
That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony?
What is it, Reno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. It's nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it.
Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry.
People's expressions, the movement of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in, and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about their testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust in your instincts.
Iris, thank you. Sometimes I think she's 10 years old. If she's 10 years old, I must be 5.
Okay, so we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." What am I going to present here, though? I don't know. Is it the... I don't think it's that. Is it the floor plan? To show that the door was in the way? No. I mean, this seems like it would be the most likely. But, hold on. What's the next one? Is it just this, but with different evidence? I don't know. It's one of these, because when I press this, hold on, I gotta... I had to go through this again. See exactly what they say. Heard a voice. We did. Suppose you're being honest. We heard a kind of wavering voice. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam. kind of thing. From the other side of the door. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's gotta be that one. So I'm going with this. It is not this. Okay. Wait. It is? Okay.
Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we?
No. What implications? It's not letting me skip this, which is usually it only lets you do when something important's happening.
Exactly. Nothing striking.
Is this the same one? It is, okay. In case I die here. Okay. So it can't be the blood, surely. I mean, maybe it's just the other picture? That seems like weird, but it sounds like something this game might do. Okay, showing that he wasn't there, so they have to know him. But no, okay. I don't think it would be the gun. Maybe it is the photo. No? A damning inconsistency. Wait, I get a different one now? What? Rare epic fail. Wait, no, I didn't mean to do that. No, I pressed the wrong button. No! This is so long, too. Oh, boy. Jesus, it goes on for a long time. Okay. The last thing I could think of to present on this point would be the, well, unless the paper actually says something, but I don't think it does. Look at that photo of Winnie Bank. Would be the gun, I guess, because it was found in her hand. Okay. Not that. Is this the right one? I think it is, yeah. So then what? If that isn't good enough for the other one, I guess this is just the wrong thing, and I'm just supposed to take it as, like... I'm just supposed to take that. That they just know his voice, but there's nothing I can stick to it. So maybe it's this instead, I guess? It's just with different evidence than the one that I showed the first time. He was shot in the back. Okay. Okay.
So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun, is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Is this not the same one as before?
Yes, Nash, he has, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description.
Eh? You what?
Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand.
Yeah, that Mortula used the victim's own gun to finish him off.
Give me that gun.
Bam.
Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are, right there.
Eh?
If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony, it would have given rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, counsel?
You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Is it not? Did I not start it with this? Okay.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, if I could ask the court to study the photograph of the victim's body again, you can clearly see that Mr. Windybank was in fact shot from behind. So as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I had to present that 2 times, and also there was an alternate version where I could present the wrong evidence when they tell me not to present evidence on this point, but whatever.
But it's the God's honest truth.
It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night.
The shopkeeper had the gun in his hand. We saw with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun. Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you've all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash, yeah.
Order! Order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once.
Well, the thing is, we were supposed to,
It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that the false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies?
ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we,
Cut it out, Nash, cut it out. If we bomb now, you know what it'll do to us.
Hey, who are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you.
Bruv, come on, the game's up. But, you'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
Well,
Do we have to?
On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Okay. Before I do this, let's take a little chat break. It's chat break time. I have to blow my nose, so I'm gonna run some ads and blow my nose, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I'm back with you. Let's see. They both looked at each other like, the fuck you say? Yeah, it's true. He's Mario, says Luigi Man. Very funny. Hey, what happened to my... Oh, the stream is just really far behind. I was like, what the hell? Why did it go back to gameplay? It didn't. Okay. Two brothers look like they have no thoughts behind their eyes. Well, they don't, so it makes sense. Iris described Apollo's gimmick. Yeah, he can sense the discrepancies. Yeah, you can save. I'm just so used to the original trilogy where, like, if you died, you had to redo, like, a huge section that I'm so paranoid about it. I am not on world record pace. So true. Can you imagine, like, they timed the world record and have to count all the days in the year, like, last year and a half that I wasn't playing the game? Gun, smile. Tampering, smile. That was exactly as long as your ad was? Wow, that's cool. Oh, I forgot the lollipop. Well, I'll add it on at the end of the stream. What's happening? I'm taking a little chat break in the middle of the stream. Seems how this is going to be more of a YouTube-ish, you know, thing where I'm not reading chat as much while the game is happening. Also, Gio, I thought you might find it interesting that a friend of mine has invited me to do a Terraria challenge with him. So that might be a stream soon. Anyway, I'll take a drink too while I'm here. And now we shall get back to boop, the encounter with the victim. Here we go.
All right, so we just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the old geezer showed his mug.
give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like
Something. I didn't read it by accident. When, what, who, Terraria. I don't know when. It's with Saturn, who I've collaborated with before on, like, the Danganronpa reaction thing and old Pokemon stuff. I don't know when, though.
For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter.
Wait, really?
I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
I never had nothing to do with him. That's all what happened, I swear.
So wait, you pulled a gun on him?
So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in that storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop? Well, yeah, sorry.
Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably.
But honest, Governor, this time...
This time, Nash, this time. We ain't got nothing more to hide.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for.
Here we go. You just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank.
Who else?
Sorry, I mean, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbroker's storeroom.
Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been.
So it would seem that the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises.
Which means Ginny must have been there at that point as well.
But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windybank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the accused at that time?
What? That Mortula? Couldn't tell you.
No way, Cobber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it.
Hold it!
You mentioned that Mr. Windybank shouted those words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door.
Did we?
But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he?
Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windybank wielding a gun at the time?
Was he ever? Blimey lummy, a great ugly barrel he had pointed straight at me frontispiece.
What the hell is a frontispiece?
So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with the gun at that time, is that right?
It is, Gov, it is. Spot on.
And then all of a sudden he came at us, he did.
It was bedlam. We didn't know who was going for who.
You were all clearly going for each other.
Like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. I mean.
He chucked me over the counter. This is so funny.
Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony, too.
Well, yeah, of course we did.
He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot.
That got tangled in some marionette what knocked over a picture frame what knocked them scales onto the floor.
So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Bravia went flying over that counter like a gunshot, I tell you. Then the old geezer pinged him.
He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds.
This is hilarious. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbroker. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim.
That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they?
Poor Mr. Windybank. He did everything he could to protect his shop.
Yeah. I pulled me gun on him.
Okay.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank? No. Never. I was just, you know. Looking out for me bruv, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes.
And then, the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away, and then ran off through that door and shot himself in. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true.
I wonder why Mr. Windybank ran away into the storeroom.
What?
Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun.
Yes, that's right. Also, the door was locked from the outside. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windybank's gun to threaten him and force open the storeroom door. Hands again.
I have no idea, but it is strange, isn't it?
This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it.
Look, the point is,
Me and my brother here,
That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and my brother here.
We never had anything to do with killing him. Okay. Then he lagged it through that door into the back room. So, which thing says that? Something surely does, right? Something? I'm not making that up, I'm pretty sure. Does this say it? I mean, I could just present this to say that Gina was in there with a gun, apparently. So, he was running right into his murderer. Maybe? That's all they want me to do?
Objection.
No? Well, let's get the last statement pressed anyway, and then we'll figure it out.
You say you had nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing of nothing. The old geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he?
Locked it was, from the inside.
We knew it was, because we tried to open it.
Okay, so it's the other way, yeah.
But it's a decent door, that one, good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch.
So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could have possibly shot the victim, the accused Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What do you say to that, counsel?
I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Windybank?
I mean, there was Mr. Windybank. His whole thing was, I will shoot myself to protect the thing, but, I got people. I mean, we all know who the actual killer is, right? Strange guy who showed up for a while with a gun and then disappeared. I mean, I'm gonna go for it and see what happens.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What?
What's that look for?
From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely.
It did? What is your point, my learned friend?
The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windybank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all.
You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts, so pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect to 2 conundrums.
2? My lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe?
Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
Understood, my lord.
Are you all right here now?
I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely.
Okay, I think I know what this is.
So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship.
I think what we're getting at is that there is the little peephole in the door, right? And you could fit the barrel of a gun in there and shoot. So if he just closed the door and then turned his back on it, you could shoot him in the back, is my guess. We'll see.
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here.
And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Like, right here.
Take that!
I don't know if this is right or not.
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom.
Continue.
Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound to his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired?
So you were adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom?
Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled me gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the back room. If Mr. Windybank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time.
Oh,
It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that the brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom.
Not exactly what I was going for, but okay.
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory.
I forgot about this entirely because it was 2 weeks ago.
It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself.
Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it still would have entered his body at an upward trajectory.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. Well, duh. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim that his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock?
But... What if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door.
Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd! You're suggesting that the accuser deliberately engineered this sealed room. For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say.
Are you kidding me?
Well, counsel?
She was trying to save her own damn life.
Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
This is what I'm saying.
It does?
Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windybank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windybank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom.
Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv.
If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom.
Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windybank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment?
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windybank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it. In order to save her own life.
Hold it!
Wait, that's what he's supposed to sound like?
Hold it.
He's just normal.
But I mean, we ain't the ones who've done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we never shoot no one.
Uh-huh. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Hurlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windybank's murder.
Yeah.
Well, where does this leave us?
You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all?
I should have known it was those three brothers. They look shady as dense forests.
That was amazing, Runo. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know, first time ever, and probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll get a verdict of not.
An admirable effort, my learned friend.
What is it now? He's laughing?
You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zykes? I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. Well, the gun that killed him was his own gun, after all. How did it get back in the room? I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. Hey, Jesus. But such blatant malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable what the hell is it? Pettifoggery here.
What?
The hypothesis you put forward is so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw.
A fatal flaw?
Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing?
I say, Lord Van Zykes, might be an idea to explain this bully conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, eh?
The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets.
By George, count bullets!
Oh dear. He noticed then.
Huh? What's everyone talking about?
Counsel.
Yes, sir?
Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime.
Two bullets.
Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, with that which struck the detective, in quotes, Mr. Hurlock Sholmes on his arrival to the scene.
Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar.
Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are two firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun.
Yes, Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each.
Now then, my learned friend.
You yourself told the court only moments ago
That these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness, I think you'll find.
If a single bullet was fired from the brother's gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means...
Windybank, not shot by the same gun. Stop. Only one bullet. Stop.
Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny.
Order!
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hollowed nectar into the public gallery, injuring a civilian.
Ow, my head! Lord Van Zykes, please refrain from murdering civilians.
It is my greatest honor. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct.
This is the most realistic court proceeding I've ever seen. Instead of presenting any evidence for the prosecution, they're just like, well, there's a past criminal record, so surely they've done it.
The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon.
Oh.
And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. That disc.
We got the disc back.
I'll be taking that, whatever it is, of Mr. McGilden's down to the yard. Thank you very much.
No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. Yes, that music box disc. McGilded's music box disc. That very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence.
Good gracious.
Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets the fact at its peril.
I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. As a grim testament to the...
Oh, Lord Van Zykes! Oh, Inspector Gregson. What? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service and, I think it was agreed the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's all this about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zykes at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
Indeed. Bailiff?
Okay. For McGilded.
The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. Let me look at the disc. We're going to test the blood, right? And I wouldn't... Sorry, this is chat, and I know I'm not supposed to be referencing it right now. But somebody said, plot twist 2, Van Zykes is the killer. This game loves to make the prosecutor the final killer, so I would not be surprised. Oops.
Oh, Reno, look! This is blood!
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. All right, hold still with that disc, Reno.
Can we get this done quickly, Iris?
In a flash.
Just a puff of pink smoke appears on the defense's corner while Van Zykes is like going off on his case being finished.
Ooh, a lovely shade of bright green again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green.
Isn't that Mason?
It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it?
Okay. I do think that, just from what we know, the reason Van Zykes came back to prosecute these cases is to take down Mr. McGilded. Because he used to only show up to these high-profile cases with corrupt entrepreneurs and stuff. And obviously this is some sort of McGilded conspiracy. And I would not be surprised if he was the one who set the omnibus on fire and killed him. But the reason why he's showing the disc off is because it's going to prove that McGilded killed Mason for the second half of this trial. I do think there's some sort of like spy thing going on too, like between, because the game set up the tenuous relationship between Japan and Britain at the moment. So, you know. Anyway, let me just check and make sure it actually is Mason, and I'm not just assuming that because it would make the most sense. Wait, what? Oh. No, Mason's is purple. It's Sholmes? What? Well, I guess Sholmes is, because he was talking to Sasato, who I think took over the role from Kazuma to be the spy. So, oh boy, that's crazy.
I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes.
Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Reno.
Are you reading my mind?
My lord.
I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden, the answer's bully obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it.
Oh no.
Very well. The court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 Da-da.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Whose line is that he's stealing? I remember this line. Is this Mia's line that he's stealing from the trilogy? That's crazy.
That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley.
Oh, never mind.
Ugh, how dare he use it against us?
Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's only one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. That's beyond any doubt.
Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready?
Gyrodeb Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir.
Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. After...
Chat break. Chat break. Oh, it's an actual line from Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, God. That makes sense. And then they referenced it in Ace Attorney in the trilogy. So I guess Mia stole their line, but still. It's like a jump scare to see it come up again. Anyway, I gotta blow my nose. Give me a sec. Okay. Let's see. Where do I go back to? There's so much going on. Did Gio get timed out at some point? What the hell happened? Okay, I think I'm about at the point. Why does the main character have a sword? It's like a symbol of like nobility, basically, or like, well, it's Kazuma's sword, so it's him reminding himself of his friend that died. But I think it has something to do with Japanese cultural traditions. He doesn't use it, okay, in the courtroom. He doesn't use it like a Francisco von Karma. The judge just goes, no, when you're wrong. Yeah, it's funny. What did you miss from last time? Honestly, not that much. If you saw the crime scene, we were basically just debunking these two stupid brothers' lies about what happened. So, not too much. You missed the stereoscope jokes because it was the 3DS. That's about it. No, I don't think it's going to be multiplayer because it's a challenge. Though maybe after, while I still have Terraria downloaded, we could do something like that. But I'm not going to guarantee it because I feel like 3 people would show up. So I don't know. This game sucks. There's no Phoenix Wright. Actually, this is Phoenix Wright's ancestor. So there is kind of a Phoenix Wright. Yeah, the music in this game is stellar for sure. Evidence LMAO short. So true. All the moderation options are so small on my phone. I misclicked one. Oh no. Poor Gio. Evidence short king. Not so much of a king. Dun dun. A short criminal. A fool of the short king's court. Oh boy. Ratatouille? What the hell? Fireball. It sucks that Van Sykes is simultaneously racist and hot. Yeah. He seems like he'd be in Honkai Star Rail. Sure. Oh my god, my face caught his bottle. Like a fangirl, and then the other one's the sort of like cartoon sound effect. Good one. The brothers are still guilty. Oh yeah. Just not in this case specifically. What year did this game take place? I actually don't know. But it's before World War I. So I think, for sure. End of the 19th century? That makes sense. Murderer Van Zeeks. Spy Team Fortress 2 real. He could be any one of us. Yeah. Chat break real. So true. Hello, Catbox. Honk Star. Honk. Why is everyone saying Honk Star? I mean, I know it's Honkai Star Rail, but why? What have you done? Alright, what random thing should I just randomly shadow drop right now so you guys will have something to talk about while I'm playing the game? Okay, nothing. Sorry. More Homestuck coming up soon. I guess I could say I purchased... Is it Rain Code? I think. I always forget the name of this game and mix it up with another one. But I purchased the Danganronpa looking new game. So that'll maybe come after Homestuck or after Undertale Yellow. Something like that. I don't know. That's my bomb to drop, so we're going back now. Summation Examination 2. This will probably be the last thing we do for the stream. Judicial findings.
Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say, Different breed to us law-abiding citizens.
As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about gun.
Okay.
It would seem there is a little remaining room for doubt. Have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more.
Ugh, the whole courtroom's turning against me.
It's not fair.
Iris?
That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer.
Where'd you get that?
Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out. Eventually.
That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Ow! Okay, I'm ready. Yes, my lord.
Here we go again. Motion capture. Okay, let's press. Press everyone.
Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying?
Well...
Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge?
Absolutely. I beg your pardon. Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world?
No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous.
Humph. Well, yes. Might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her from before. She's clearly a criminal sort through and through, can't deny it.
When you say that she'd shown she had it in her, are you referring to this?
Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken?
Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute it.
I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it.
Oh, yes, of course.
I thought he was going to say something. I got so prepared.
Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe.
We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we?
My guess is not a tune.
But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy.
Mr. McGilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail.
I mean, it is a clue. of some kind. Okay.
It's the number of bullets that has you convinced.
Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings.
Well, that's logical, I suppose.
Although,
Yes.
sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china.
Does your employer dine with thieves?
So I suppose, if there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position.
A 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible?
I don't think I can prove it yet. So I'll just say this for now, and hope he just leaves it.
Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by police during their investigation.
Yes, I know.
Right.
And I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt.
Oh, I think I know where it's going to be. I think there's going to be a bullet in Sholmes. There's going to be the bullet in the calendar, and then the bullet in Windy Bank. That's my guess. Prove it. Prove it. I'll do it later. It's fine.
Sounds like a crime scene to me.
A 3rd bullet. It would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere?
You don't need a stereoscope. Blah, 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 blah. So if I've understood correctly, you need 2 pictures.
Okay, we're still...
A left eye one and a slightly different right eye one.
Exactly. Then you can use the scene in 3 dimensions. Like this.
So, if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful from them.
I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the dock.
How can you be so sure of that?
Think about it. The Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they?
Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice.
Well then, surely it's coming into focus now, isn't it?
This is a waste of time. I'm not going to change this man's mind anytime soon.
Yeah, we already used him. I'm sure this guy's not going to have much to say, but who knows? Wait, is he going to be the guy that was operating on Sholmes? That's how we're going to find out about the bullet? Oh my god. I didn't even think of that until now. Okay.
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it has nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on...
Ooh, what was the fellow's name now? Herlick? No. Hairlock? No. Hairlock?
Oh, airlock? Close enough.
Herlock Sholmes, by any chance?
Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes?
That's right, using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. He was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy.
Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or the other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find a bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up.
I hate to state the obvious, but
Yes?
surely that's because the bullet's still at the scene of the shooting.
The counsel for the defense is correct, as is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged in the shop's wall where the calendar was hanging by the door.
I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally.
Oh man, he's gonna reveal that it wasn't, and there's somebody else at the scene of the crime who got shot here and also has blood on the disc. It's not actually Sholmes' blood. That makes more sense. Okay.
Huh, who do you think I am, son?
Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake? Are you saying you checked his back?
Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet left the body at all.
What?
That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I set about slicing him up. And still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve this mystery?
It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together.
True. It's almost like somebody purposefully stacked this jury. Anyway. Where's an expert when you need one?
I am expert on all firearm. I will answer all firearm-related questions.
Anyway.
What do you mean you're in for a busy day?
Forgot to say, stop. Do excuse me, stop. I am a communications officer, stop.
A communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams?
Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all messages into Morse code and tap it out so the entire world electronically.
To the entire world?
Thousands of miles of cable under the sea, stop. Worldwide communication network, stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe, stop.
Yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves or the like before, wasn't she?
I specialize in communicating information from governmental departments and newspaper offices.
I see.
I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine.
Let's just finish the trial first, shall we?
Alright.
I am ballistics expert.
I love this pose. He like puts his hands forward.
I am ballistics expert. Use my expertise to solve crime.
I thought you were just a tourist.
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert. Who knew?
I have much experience with guns.
Ah.
I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent, bath of, blood of,
Extreme violent blood baths, perhaps.
Those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue.
He's not wrong.
Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue.
Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve.
He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure.
But, if possible, please, only in Russian language.
He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he?
No. Still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets.
Yeah.
What should I do? Van Sykes has managed to convince everyone.
When you have eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't.
If we're going to fight back, we need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again.
Alright, here we go. We're gonna pit.
Pit!
Oh, come on. Hurry up.
Objection.
Wait, what? Oh no. Oh no, I forgot how it works. I thought I got to choose the two of them. No. No. I'll
For common cause, don't you know, me chaps? They don't contradict each other. Yes, in fact, I do think they are. Time to die.
The really frustrating thing is, I thought I'd identified a genuine discrepancy. No, the Caradem Squadron. I wish it would let me skip through this. Okay. So I actually do have to go to this guy and then pit him with this one. I forgot that's how it worked.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other.
Ballistics expert. Pitting. P-I-T-T.
On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop when Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6.
Hello, my name is Wieland. Pleased to meet you.
The apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery?
I have seen a very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds.
Mental note, don't ask too many questions.
I was shot from behind and fell down in snow. And this situation is very similar to what I hear from doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. And no sign of, how do you say, exit wound.
Then
where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side.
what?
One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looks just like bullet wound. Good gracious! Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside. And that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet.
Did he get hit by an icicle or something? I can't remember. It's not winter, I don't think, right now, right? So what did he get hit by?
But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened in a pawnbroker's shop. Not on some snowy mountain road in another country.
What? Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here.
You know,
Whoa, that was loud. Gotta put my phone away, apparently.
where exactly was Hurley shot again?
Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think.
Well, that's precisely why he always wears a little pouch on his belt.
A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that.
Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations.
What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing?
I have it on me right here. Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived in the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may.
Lord Van Zykes?
Well, I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination. I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom.
Sorry?
As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Oh, thank goodness! I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence related to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. Well, extremely unconventional during a summation examination. I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes's pouch. I see. This is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it?
Look at that! One of the vials is broken, and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the vial exploded.
Exploded?
So, that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
It was the glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. Oh. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered.
Ugh.
But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much.
Glad I could help.
Exactly, whose blood? Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester the scruffy pouch as evidence.
Holy's pouches ain't scruffy.
Sholmes' pouch. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that. I guess I could just go this way, huh? Yeah. Hit the side of it. Aha!
This vial's been smashed to pieces. Presumably, this is where the bullet struck.
As soon as the bullet hit the chemical in that vial, there would have been a really big explosion.
A big explosion?
Well, Hurley's potions and chemicals are amazingly useful for the investigation work he does. But they're also quite tricky to handle. Safely, at least. They're very dangerous.
Oh.
I'm sure that when this vial broke, the chemical inside would have ignited.
Note to self, always walk on the right-hand side of Sholmes in the future. Left is the danger zone.
Come on, that's the bullet. I saw it. Is it not? No, it is the bullet. How do I get the bullet specifically? Do I have to look through the bullet hole? Hold on. There it is. Okay, that worked. Oh, or did it?
It's really scorched badly just here.
Oh, the strap is broken. Look.
It must be where the bullet hit, then.
Let me see.
Oh, okay, there we go. Now we're going to be able to do it.
But what the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken vial was, do you see it?
Ah, that's the Skulkin brothers' bullet.
What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windy Banks that night.
We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet.
It's time to press that juror again, I think.
Alright, there we go.
It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling out to alter opinion,
Please, my lord. A little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue. You can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around. Somehow. I'm sure of it.
Makes no sense how it stopped. I mean, kind of. But it did have to go through 3 layers of leather because it hit the strap, then the pouch, then the vial, then the pouch again. So, I don't know. This is also in like the 1800s, so guns aren't quite as powerful, maybe. You. The 3rd bullet. Wait, I can't. present it? Hold on. Wait, what? I don't remember how I do this. Hold on. Maybe I just have to press, and then I'll get the chance. Oh, right. There is the chance. It's at the end. I remember now. I said no, because I didn't have the evidence yet. And everybody in chat was like, no, you have to do it. How many Ace Attorney games are there? There's the original trilogy, then there's the quote-unquote Apollo Justice trilogy, which is 3 games. So that's 6. There's 2 of these, so that's 8. 2 investigation games is 10. There might be another one. There's a good amount of them. Why am I looking at the guns? I'm supposed to be looking at this.
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question at Windybank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Well, that sounds bad. Where did you find that bullet?
It was lodged in Mr. Sholm's pouch.
What?
The pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholm's waist before he was taken to the hospital. And since then, it has been touched by no one.
Right versus Layton. There's another one.
Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night?
Yes. As your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch.
But that makes no sense whatsoever. How would the bullet have stopped? We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Ugh.
2 guns from the scene have already been submitted to the court record as evidence.
Yes, that of Mr. Windybank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers.
An examination of both guns has revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Ah! But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment.
Holy wow, perfect timing.
Order!
At least nobody's dressed up in a costume. It's the other Ace Attorney staple.
While the summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As it is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination.
By Jupiter! What?
Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once.
Oh. Not them. Anybody but them. I think we're gonna call the court for the day, right? That's why we're bringing them back?
Witnesses,
Governor!
were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination?
We was, Governor, we was.
Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that?
We make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing if I can't help it.
Is it one of yours?
God blimey, Gov, God blimey, not a chance.
Wrong guy.
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone.
It's just the 2 of us, that's our trademark.
How soon we forget poor Sulky.
Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Blimey, that's a head scratcher.
Counsel for the defense.
Yes?
I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet, and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came.
Thinking back on all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers.
It was either that they have another gun or they had a secret accomplice. I think in the end, it's probably going to end up there's somebody else there at the scene. Probably Mr. I don't know what else to call him than White. But for now, I think the best thing to say is they had another gun, so we have to have more investigation time, right? Probably. I might die on this, so I probably should save, though. It would suck.
On that night at Windybank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been in possession of another gun. We know that only one bullet was fired from each of the two firearms already in the court record. The logical conclusion, therefore, is that the brothers were working with an accomplice who was carrying a gun.
Oh, so it didn't matter what you said, basically.
An accomplice, you say? Pig swill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a third man, yet this apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof. Evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character.
The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding?
Well, counsel?
I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is...
Oh, man. Look, if I was the lawyer in this situation, I would point out that they were looking for their missing brother. That is a third person that has been mentioned earlier in the case. But he's not in the court record. So, am I really just going to say, yeah, the first thing, the evidence is the extra bullet, and the guy is this random guy I saw who also had a gun on the day in question? I guess he accused Gina of stealing the ticket. I'm just going to do it. Even if it's wrong, whatever.
The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands.
So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting.
I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it'll make a difference.
In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
Okay. Where is the calendar? How did I get that? Oh, right, it's the blood, it's the blood, it's the blood. It's this one. Oh, right, I don't have to actually choose, I just present it.
The evidence is right here, in this portfolio.
By Jove, the portfolio again, is it? You expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of these blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it?
I'm sure it's this one. Say gives myself.
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar.
That's a bloodstain, my lord.
A bloodstain? What, were they a troll from Homestuck?
Green blood? Curious, even for you.
Is the court to understand that the intruder was some sort of troll?
It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
By the great detective! New invention, stop. None yet appeared in stories, stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements? Of people's blood?
Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So, by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is.
That brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood.
Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop.
We are in a courtroom, yeah. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank.
A striking blue.
Yes. So you see, the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot by in the main part of the shop.
Now hold it there, young man. Could it be some unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date at which Mr. Windybank was killed.
By golly.
Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
Then whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. A third intruder, in fact.
Objection. Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear? You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Alright, well, I'm going to save again. Because this seems like it's so much the thing that we want to do, but is it time?
Take that!
Apparently.
The man's name is Eggert Benedict.
Eggert Benedict? That's a real name? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel?
He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place.
When the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession.
That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force.
Broker? Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he was Irish, wasn't he? I remember that now.
The article in question belongs to me. I demand it to be returned at once.
Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs, too. You will.
Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windybank for the print showing the fella.
Great, a third print.
Taken from one of his red-handed recorder gubbinses.
The hell's that?
Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windybank that morning.
And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice.
Well, Mr. and Mr. Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer before in my life.
On my life, Gov, on my life. Never seen him.
Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with such an assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice.
Yes, and I can.
Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is.
Well, time for the disc.
This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something's been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into this courtroom.
Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was, in fact, the person struck by the third bullet.
I mean, it's gotta be this, right?
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windybanks.
Which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no?
That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
Boy, but of course, sir. Here's the disc for you.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute. That disc. It's mine.
Oh, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Thank goodness she did.
Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed. And the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a blood stain is it?
My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom.
Using my trusty Fogger gun.
Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio.
I say.
It's green. It is exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar.
The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Windybanks earlier that day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime the same night.
So there was someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets.
Oi, what are you talking about? It's boiling in here.
My lord, in the opinion of the defense, that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify.
It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore the gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now, this flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Herlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes, a god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Well... And pray, do not even think of suggesting we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Ugh.
Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of rubbish?
I don't know. I mean, he is a great detective.
What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that.
I knew it would come to this. Of course Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief! What did you just say, young girl?
And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something?
Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with.
Iris Wilson, sharpshooter!
After that shrewd précis on the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion.
This is absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in the matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh, I can't believe the doctor would say guilty after all that. Come on, man. The smartest person in this courtroom is 8 years old. Such a...
2 called guilty and 4 called not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
I can't believe the tech lover also voted guilty.
Objection.
She's supposed to be all about new technology.
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
On what grounds?
If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt.
I'm sorry, Lord Van Zykes, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. The trial will continue.
Ugh. Ugh.
Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
I don't believe it. I thought all the people here just had weird names. Just when I managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something?
Who was that, please? Who spoke?
Oh, it's her.
It was me, my lord.
Juror number 5?
What have you to say, madame?
If possible, Inspector.
Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown.
Oh my god, are they going to be related? They have the same hair color.
Right, yes. This one, you mean, of Mr. Benedict.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind.
Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man?
Yes, I know him.
What? No.
Good gracious! Order! 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 Juror number 5, how on earth?
I am Communications Officer Stop.
As we can clearly see,
the gentleman of the photograph is Stop. Also a Communications Officer Stop. He works in my office Stop.
Oh, okay.
A very talented operator, in fact, Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph stop.
This doesn't seem right somehow. Can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right.
I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out he was a respectable job by day whatever he gets up to at night.
Yes, I suppose that's it. Suppose that's why I felt something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zykes, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Make the necessary arrangements with all haste.
As your lordship bids.
The court will recess for 1 hour, and by 1 hour I mean 1 week. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson.
Yes, my lord.
I should like to hear from you specifically about the events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess.
Yes, sir, my lord.
Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Until 6 o'clock p.m. PST next week.
Ah, how lovely. That was fun. I will say, and I've said this before in reference to liking this game, the jury in this game is so much more fun than it was in anything else. Like, they had it in Apollo Justice, kind of. This actually makes me think that a jury system in one of these games could actually work really well. Yeah, that's why I think, sorry, I'll read it out for people who are watching later, but the chances of 2 jurors being connected to this case out of possibly millions of citizens in London are so low. That's what makes me think this is some sort of a plot to, like, reveal McGilded. And that's why they're going against the government. It's why all these jurors happen to be related to the scene or have prior relationships with Ryunosuke. Essentially, they're giving us a lot of help. I don't know if it's Male, what's his name? Male Strongheart, or if it's Van Zykes somehow, and whoever's above him, which I guess is Male Strongheart, right? I don't know, but yeah. Précis is pronounced Précis. I should have known that, but I guess it's hard to say a French word in an English accent when you're not English. Calendar shows the date of the murder. Gregson can attest to the incident involving the disc in your dumb, if only. Everybody loved the leg slam. Dead Man, yeah, very good name. Oh, Lucy had to leave. Bye, Lucy. Even though you're already gone, probably. Illusion of choice in my Ace Attorney? It's more likely than you think. YouTube removed the hide the specific comment moderation option. Weird. I don't know why. I guess you can just time people out, but it's not really the same. Gun 3! So true. I love the Russian rat guy. Yeah, he's awesome. We love the Russian rat guy. Twilight Princess. Some love for Juror 4. He's funny. And then Honk Star, which I know I read before. So there we go. I'm caught up. You're you're back and right as I was saying goodbye to you. Well, there you go. Cool. I wasn't listening, but epic. Nice, Gio. That's awesome for you. Also, jurisdiction consistent between cases, i.e. Garadeb. Yeah. But I do like it. It's like you have more than one gumshoe to play around with, essentially. Where you can form like little rivalry relationships between the jurors and the defense. It's fun. I will say I do miss Susato, though. Even though she's not actually gone yet, maybe. I don't really know. But Iris is not quite a perfect substitution. She did have an epic moment, though, and she did the whole, oh, the summation examination isn't over yet thing. That was pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to play some more ads, after we figure out what do we want to put on the starting soon screen. Let me know. And I'm going to play ads while that happens. And I'm going to take a drink of water as well. Whew. She's on the starting soon screen. She's still with us. So true. Why is YouTube asking you for a color? Oh, did you get this stupid thing they're doing where they give you, oh, you want to change up the videos you see? Pick a color and we'll give you videos related to that color. Like, what the hell is that even about? I don't know. So weird. The gun. Something to do with you because you want to live again. I don't know. Okay, well, pick something. 60% opacity saw bad guy. 2 votes for the gun. If I'm putting a gun on here because, you know, don't really want to test it. I'll put on the squirt gun from the old Heather's Danganronpa videos. I don't know how many of you guys know about that. Actually, I could just show you the squirt gun right now. And then I could even like change the color of it so that it's the 3 different colors of the blood to represent the 3 guns. Worm skip? What is worm skip? Okay. I think that's our options though. Boring real gun. Sorry. Nintendo Zapper. So we've got 3 guns. We've got 60% opacity soul bad guy. We have worm skip. I don't know what that means, but I'll put a funny worm on there. You've never heard of the squirt gun, really? Okay, before I put this on here, let me show you what the squirt gun is, so that way you know what you're voting for. Womp, as in womp, womp. If you say so. Where is resources? There it is. God damn it, I hate this. I need icons so I can see what I'm looking at. This is the gun. This is the gun that JD used to shoot people in Heather's. It's very large. Whoops, I flipped it. I didn't mean to do that. There you go. Pew pew. So that's what you're voting for. 3 of them and in different colors. Vote. How do you flip it? When in OBS, because that's what I'm using, when I just shrink it to the lowest possible size and then go too far, it flips it in whatever direction that I'm shrinking it with. But there's also tools to just rotate it, so. Put 2 more placeholder ones immediately. She put it next to Sasato so it makes it look like she's holding them. I mean, I could maybe do that. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be gun. Okay, 3 guns. 3 guns it is. Let me get the lollipop for Okie Dokie, okay? What was that called? It was like Irish lollipop. No. That didn't actually come up with the right thing. What did I search last time to find this? Does anybody remember? Because I can't find all the images I had before. Wait, that's not even a transparent image. You lied to me. Lied to me, liar. Irish pop. Give Okie Dokie one of the guns in his other hand? Okay, we'll see. Try that. No, that gave me Irish pop bands. Okay, apparently I'm going to have to work a little to find this, so never mind. Jigen has the third gun. Over Jigen's gun. That could work, but it'd be very small. We'll see. Maybe more people will trade who has the gun over time. But anyway, that's the end of today's stream. I hope you enjoyed. This was a fun one. We got some fun reveals in the trial, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'll be back next week for more of this probably. Depending. It might be Terraria. I don't really know. We'll find out. Okay. Thanks for watching. Like the stream. Comment, subscribe. Become a member if you want. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.